Hello, and welcome to the Braille System. My name is Brett Held, and I'm here to talk to you today about the authority perception. The authority perception is nothing more than the supposed agreed-upon rules of man in society that is then inflicted upon the deceived individuals of the world who never got to know that they are free, sovereign, conscious beings bound to only natural law, and that the perception of man's authority is an illusion that has no place in real time and nature. The authority perception is dependent upon the collective conscious agreement of those individuals submitting to such a condition for the perceived man's authority to have any real power. Without this collective agreement of submission by the people, the perception of authority has no power and cannot exist. Acquiescence of personal responsibility is the heartblood of any system of modern societal control or government, and the creator of the authority perception. The authority perception allows the submitting individuals the false idea that someone else, the authority, can protect and defend them from the evils of society. The protection and defense of your own person can never be advocated to another person or an organization. It's false to think that is possible, for there is always a choice to be made. People are always responsible for the choices they make and the actions they take. You cannot give up the choices that are inherently yours to make in this world, and attempting to do so generate and perpetuates the state of adolescence. This state of underdeveloped human being is very easy to control because an adolescent is not responsible, and by making tangential decisions out of fear and other emotion rather than logic, the adolescent mind can be controlled and their actions funneled to any end. The most cowardly and fearful of the adolescent mindset belongs to that of the order-follower positions of the authority perception, such as the police and military personnel. Those who have dedicated themselves to blindly following orders have given away their responsibility to determine right from wrong for themselves and pledged themselves to falsely advocate their own inherent moral choices to the authority perception. These mindless adolescents are of those with the highest level of fear and the lowest opinion of life and consciousness to happily inflict violence and aggression against other human beings simply because they were told to by their masters, who clearly own their minds for a paycheck. These police and military people are more than proud to tell you outright that they are only doing what they were ordered to do, as if not thinking for themselves is some kind of virtue to be praised with ridiculous medals and patches that only mock the ignorance of their mistaken pride. So what do you think of someone who has given away the right to think for themselves? What do you think of someone who has given away the right to choose right action from wrong action? What do you think of someone who would blindly follow an order that denied you your right to life and happiness? What would you think of someone who would do harm to others simply for a paycheck alone? You would not think they were a moral person, would you? No, this is the lowest level of human consciousness. This is the order follower that has already made all of these terrible moral choices from fear, insecurity, and self-loathing, and we are supposed to somehow respect these terrible people for protecting us from ourselves or some foreign enemy. Right. These people create an adverse social environment simply because they exist as the enforcers of the illegitimate authority perception. They push their influence around societies which stir up the very violence they are said to protect us from. You cannot reason with a person that does not make their own decisions. You cannot reason with I'm just doing what I was told. Discernment of anything and everything has been abandoned for the orders being followed blindly. This is how true evil is brought into manifestation by those blind enough to simply follow orders without any discernment of right or wrong on their own behalf. Order followers are the ones responsible for the actual manifestation of evil in this world because they are the ones who actually perform the manifested action. Those manipulators who gave the orders do not directly manifest anything. They gave an order to someone. Evil could not have taken place unless the order followers were there to blindly follow the orders that actually commit the immoral offense in reality. Do the infamous tyrants of history get famous for killing millions of people all by themselves? No. They had an evil regime of order followers that performed the actual evil action for them without question. The actions could not have taken place on such a grand scale if no one was willing to follow such heinous orders given by said tyrant without question. If the whole of humanity was striving for true adulthood, there would be no soldiers or police available to blindly follow the orders of psychopathic people in positions of influence. How could they commit such evil or have a war if no one shows up? If all people are responsible enough to decide for themselves what is right and what is wrong and act accordingly, the perception of some external authority is so extraneous that it would likely never be considered. True, authentic adults know that a perceived authority is only applicable to lesser developed adolescents that do not yet know the difference between right and wrong, and so rules must be enacted until they learn morality and maturity for themselves, where the perceived authority is no longer relevant. Only the adolescent mind would accept an authority perception that would propose to know better. True adults reject the idea of any proposed authority that would require advocating one's responsibility in any way, since they would be giving away the power of discernment and choice for themselves. Only an adolescent or a child mind requires an authority perception to know the difference between right and wrong.